Magic Mike's is a HBCU podcast with students from the Lamar College
discussing the pros and the cons, the culture and the journeys
of the Black college experience.
This is Albert. Today we're going to be talking about ego.
Hey, how you guys doing? My name is Christopher Booth, but you can call me KB.
Hey, how you guys doing? My name is Javon Hall. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. Y'all can call me Vaughn.
Hey y'all, I'm Talisha Shorty, but just call me Shorty.
Thank you so much for joining me today. So my take on the issue of ego is very important for you. Everyone's supposed to have a strong sense of self-confidence and self-esteem. What's your thoughts on that, Javon?
I think, everybody should have a certain amount of ego. Like, too much ego could be a bad thing. Like, of course, you should always be confident in whatever you're doing. But if you're overconfident and cocky and disrespecting others, then you in the wrong lane.
But at what point does ego become too much? There's always a fine line between having too little ego and a very big ego. So where do you think you're supposed to draw the line?
I think you should draw the line when you see like other people, like your supporters, people that you hang around, just start distant, like feeling uncomfortable around you because you're disrespecting the way that they feel or making them feel like they're not good enough to be around you or whatnot. So just pay attention to who you're around because they'll tell you. They'll give you the answer for that.
And Chris, KB?
Basically what he said, but I'm putting it in my words. I feel like he said, like an ego, it can be a bad thing and it can be a good thing. Some people don't have enough self-confidence and have enough self-esteem. But when it comes to the point where you disrespecting others because you just feel like you that guy or you that woman that you can conquer the world, you know what I'm saying? It depends on what the situation is. If you feel like you can conquer the world because you just got that dream job and you doing your thing the respectable way, that's cool. But if you think you can just conquer the world because you that person that can do anything, you just disrespecting people out of nowhere just because you just feel like you that person. Can ain't nobody stop you. That's bad, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to go down that path. I feel like
Shorty, tell us about your thoughts.
I feel like ego is something everyone has. I don't think ego is a good or bad thing. I think ego is just self, and I think you just have to keep yourself in check. I think your ego can really protect you in this world because if you don't have self-importance, nobody else is really going to take you seriously or
That's right.
feel like you're important. So you have to have ego, but you shouldn't have like Kanye ego where you feel like the world like revolves around you and can't nobody tell you anything because that way you can't really grow that way. And I feel like there's this big thing with like ego death that we see a lot on social media, like you got to kill your ego. You don't need to kill your ego because, again, ego itself, you just have to keep it grounded. It has to be healthy. Your ego has to be healthy, but it's not necessarily a bad thing as I think most people try to portray ego to be.
Okay, so you're a woman and you're surrounded by men. What kind of ego would you look for in any guy who comes to approach you?
I feel like the same ego I would look in any person, guy or man, just someone who has self-importance, but they're not self-absorbed. Like, don't be too into yourself where you think the world, like, completely revolves around you and you're talking to you about yourself in, like, third person or something. Because it's a little too much then, but...
So, okay, say a guy feels like I am a god, I am the king. I can get whatever I want, I can, if I put my mind to it, I can get it, Would you want someone like that, or would you want someone who thinks, I think I could do it, who's like unsure and who's not firm in his decisions?
Ever had to choose one?
Yeah, if you had to choose one. Would you have a guy with 1,000% ego or a guy with a negative 100% ego?
I would probably pick the second option because I feel like you can build your ego up, but it might be harder to like humble. I don't want to say break it down, but like humble yourself. Because somebody come to me and they're just like, they feel like they're God and stuff. I got to humble you like real quick and tell you it's not about to all go your way.
Yeah.
So I would rather like help build somebody's ego than try to like constantly humble them and just be like, I'm not trying to tell you to think less of yourself, but
Yeah.
It just doesn't all revolve around you. But I think, no offense to all the males in here, but I think men can kind of have a fragile ego sometimes. So it's hard to address y'all egos without y'all being offended by it. I feel like, unless y'all disagree.
Okay, I think it's time for me to go to the gentleman because you did say a lot of things that I think are interesting, especially the part where you said you'd rather build up someone's ego. So Chris and Javon, do you think a woman, realistically speaking, can stick around to build up your ego, or you have to do that yourself as a man?
I feel like a man should do that himself. He shouldn't let a woman help him build his character and ego.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just destined for a man to do it himself, because when he actually get there, he gonna feel accomplished. He gonna feel like he accomplished his goal. Yeah. It's just like, okay, for example, if I win the lottery, 300 million, because let's just say last $5 on my cash, I paid all my bills. I said, let me go buy me a lottery ticket.
Yeah.
I win the lottery, 300 million. I buy a couple houses, couple cars. If I do that, I wouldn't feel like, matter of fact, I wouldn't feel like I deserve it because it just fell in my lap.
Yeah.
Or I wouldn't value it. I ain't even gonna say deserve it. Let me fix that. I wouldn't value it as if I actually worked for it and got my dream job, actually build a couple businesses and companies, and then bought it. I will value it more. So that go back to, why would a woman help me, or is it really able for a woman to help me build my ego and character? So I just feel like a man should do that himself. He will feel better.
Okay. And Javon, what's your take?
I feel like a man should build his ego and build himself, period, before he can get into a relationship. So like, a woman shouldn't have to, you know what I'm saying, build his ego. He should get right with God and, you know what I'm saying, start taking like doing good habits and things like that himself before he even put himself with a woman. So yeah, it's something you should do yourself and just with God or whatever you believe in.
Yeah. Thank you very much for spending the time with me. I know that this is a very, very deep conversation, you know, and I think just to wrap it up, I agree. Of course, I'm a guy. Sorry, Shorty. I think I just I have to start with the gentleman on this one. And I just, if any guys out there listening right now, I think it's very important for you to find yourself first and not let someone else do it for you, because everyone looks at the world through, I could say, a broken lens. So letting someone else build you through their eyes, model you through what they think is perfect, is probably not the best, because it might not line up with the type of person you are and your goals and ambitions. I think that's all for now. Thank you so much.
Thanks, y'all have a good one.